There is something happening in people's lives. They are being called to things that have notoriously been considered unconventional, the dark, magical, and spiritual side of life. They are seeking life's answers, and so are we. I'm Stephanie Long.
And I'm Kendall Shahan.
And we're investigative journalists who want to break the norm of society's views of what we don't know or understand. We're the conduit for people to share their message that is otherwise considered taboo. The world is a mysterious place full of unexpected miracles, so join us in investigating the unknown. All right. Well, welcome, everyone. We are really excited to have Todd on. Todd is the co-owner of Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. So if you can just give us a little bit more of your background, that would be great. And then we can just jump into some ghost stories.
Sure. My name is Todd Bonner, and I'm co-owner of Detroit Paranormal Expeditions. I've been doing the paranormal, or living the paranormal life, I guess, really my whole life. I started doing it professionally probably in 2011. And then one of my best friends and I, Jeff Atkins, formed Detroit Paranormal Expeditions in December of 2016.
Do you have a story that really got you interested in the paranormal? Did something happen to you as a kid or someone that you know?
It's kind of like a journey, I guess. The reason I got into the paranormal, I've always been one of those kids that have loved abandoned places. You never dare me to jump into an abandoned house or anything like that. And I love horror also. So I've had 3 or 4 near-death experiences. My first one, I was probably 8 years old. I got my tonsils taken out. This is back in the 80s when they used to just cut you and stitch you. And I was in a room with another boy, and he was getting to go home, and I wanted to go home too. So I started screaming at the top of my lungs, and my stitches, it's gross. My stitches ripped open, and I pretty much bled out. And
oh my gosh,
I remember panicking because so much blood was coming out of my nose and mouth. And then there was I tell people this, like a calmness came over me. And I just laid back, and that's really the last thing I remember. I had to get a blood transfusion, and when I woke up, my parents were there and everything else. But I've had a couple other ones along the way. My first true paranormal experience was when I was probably 15 or 16. We stuck into an abandoned psychiatric hospital here in Michigan. It's the thing to do in high school. Everybody did it. So the girl I was dating at the time, the building was probably over 200,000 square feet. And there was, at that time, 8 large buildings on this property. So the girl I was dating at the time, we went to the basement, kind of off on our own. It was scary, creepy, the thrill of going through something like that. And I heard a voice tell us to get out, and what are you doing here? Not just like a human. I could tell it was something else, but I didn't want to scare the girl I was with. So I said, those guys are playing a trick on us. Let's go look around. So we looked in the whole basement, went through the first 2 floors, and found the guys up on the 5th floor. Like, there's no way they could have ran that far. But I knew in my mind and the way I felt that it wasn't someone there. It was supernatural, paranormal. But back in those days, and I tell people this, there was no TV shows. This is around 1988. There's no one to talk to about it. My dad was a police officer, and I went to Catholic schools. I was at a Catholic high school at the time, and I kind of kept it to myself because people would think I was crazy and probably put me in a place like I was exploring. So that's kind of what propelled me, I guess. And I kept it in, but I've always had the interest. And as it grew, and as I got older, I kind of said, I don't give a shit what people think about me anymore. I say this too. I came out of the paranormal closet, so to speak, and started following my passion. And
I think we're coming out of the paranormal closet over this last year, so I hear you as well.
It's kind of taboo at one time,
Yeah.
People, that's demonic. You'd have different religious, I went to Catholic schools, and obviously they teach you, even when you're little, growing up, that those things don't exist. It's not real. So you kind of rationalize, when you see a door close or, windows, things move or things in the corner of your eyes. But when you open up to it, like I have over the last 10 years or so, you notice so much more. Life is so much more than just normal life. You know what I mean? There's so much more out there around us. And I meet so many different people with abilities. I don't think I have ability, so to speak, but I think I'm in tune with my body and my natural instincts more now than I've ever been. Because your senses are heightened when you do a paranormal investigation in the dark, your eyesight and your hearing. So I think it's been very beneficial to me. I think if you really enjoy something, you have a passion for it, I always say go for it, no matter what it is. Don't let things hold you back.
Can you explain what the voice sounded like? You said you could tell it wasn't human, so I am curious because you see on horror movies, right? It's all this like raspy or a
It
whisper.
was kind of like a whisper. It was
Yeah,
whisper,
okay.
but it was a male voice. And we've been very lucky over the last few years. All of our investigations seems like we get some kind of evidence where we get weird voices on, EVPs. But sometimes you don't hear them in the moment. Sometimes you do hear them in the moment. But they're always distinct. They're either whispery or they have a gravelly type voice. So maybe if it's a female. And I don't know why. And that's kind of why we keep doing the paranormal. I keep searching for answers to a lot of these questions. What is it really? I mean, I can't sit here and say it's really ghosts or anything like that. I mean, we really don't know. There's not really a lot of scientific data behind that. It's just, people, I do it for my own personal reasons. I just enjoy it. I love the history of all these places and a lot of people I've got to meet. It's just a wonderful thing is all I really say. And it's been fun. I always say it's fun. And when it stops being fun and interesting, then I'll probably not do it anymore.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to clarify. A female voice is usually like gravelly, and a male voice is a whisper.
It seems like it.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I haven't heard that before.
At least in our experience.
Interesting.
We've captured female voices like humming, whistling, but it's so distinct from the male voices. You can't get it confused. Is what I really mean to say.
Wow, that is super interesting. No one has said that to us before.
Yeah, I never really thought about it.
I haven't either.
A lot of our evidence on our website, DetroitParanormalExpeditions.com. We go to the evidence section, and there's one that we captured at a lighthouse here in Michigan that sounds like a voice from The Exorcist. And Jeff and I didn't hear it in the moment, but we went on the way back to our camp where we were at. I put the headphones on, was playing it, and I usually don't do this, but it was a real short EVP, like 20 minutes we're doing. And I heard this voice that I told you to go. And it sounded just like The Exorcist. I mean, when you hear it, it'll blow you away. It's so loud, and we did not hear it in the moment.
Okay, I have to listen to that. And you know what's interesting? A lot of people that we've talked to, that has been a common theme. Get out, or I told you to get out. So that seems to be what they say generally. And the thing that, how it kind of turned out there is that we had a psychic with us, Brandy Marie, who's our teen psychic. When we pulled up to this light, it was a lighthouse in the lighthouse keeper's house. So it was kind of a big structure. She said she saw a woman standing on the front porch pointing, telling us to go. And so Jeff and I, we never listened to that advice. So we went in there and started just 20 minutes. We could hear stuff moving behind the door. It wasn't like a scary feeling to us. That EVP was really, really like one of the best, I think, that we've ever captured.
Wow.
And why were you there?
We were doing an investigation at a historical society on this island. And people kept telling us, go out to this abandoned lighthouse. It's really creepy. It's at the other end of the island. So we drove out there. It's way in the middle of nowhere. And we were wanting to go investigate. We tried to get in. It was locked except for the lighthouse. You can go up in the lighthouse itself, but you couldn't get into the house. So we started rattling the door, trying to open it, just joking around. And I said to Jeff, what if you were doing that to the door and just opened all of a sudden? And that's when we heard the voice. So we didn't hear it then. We captured the voice saying, it said shipwreck. I told you to get out. And it sounded just like it was demonic. It was creepy. I did not say it was demonic, but it sounded like something from The Exorcist, honestly.
It sounded creepy. Have you ever come across anything that you would consider as demonic?
No, fortunately. I mean, I believe in that stuff. I believe that's real. It could really happen. We've come across like negative energies. And I mean, my belief, and everyone might not be the same, and I think that if these are ghosts or spirits or energies, they were human at one time. So just because you were bad in the real life doesn't mean when you cross over, you're going to suddenly be good. So you're going to get those bad energies like bad people in real life, So I think that's what we ran into. Nothing really negative or demonic. And I really don't want to run into anything like that, actually.
Do you know why that spirit wanted you out of the lighthouse?
I don't know.
You ever figure that out?
It's because you were breaking and entering.
It could have been. But Randy was saying, go, the lady was saying, you need to go, don't come here. But we did anyway. So I don't know what her warning was. I don't know, like a lot of the history. There wasn't a lot of history, like bad history behind that house. But we're going to go back. We just have to find time to go back there.
Oh, great. Yes.
That's awesome.
I watch a lot of horror movies, and lighthouses are
I love horror movies.
good horror movies.
Nice crossover with the paranormal.
Yeah, I have a horror movie fascination. So
Yes.
Yes. That's why I'm always curious if anyone's seen like an exorcism. Have you seen an exorcism then?
No, I started taking a demonology class. Bishop James Long from the old Catholic Church actually does classes, and he's been doing it for like 20 years, and he's like witnessed like 3 exorcisms.
Wow.
Because they're not common, but he has like a video set up of a couple that he's done, and it's just weird. It's just creepy, and I don't think I want to be involved. Because I think a demon, you around demons or you get possessed, it can really cause havoc on you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
You know, you see it. I mean, even the Catholic Church admits it now that they do teach demonology with some of their priests. So
Interesting.
it's obviously been happening over the years. I'm sure they kept it quiet so people won't panic, but I haven't read anything like that. There's enough crazy people in the world that I don't think I want to see anything demonic. I mean, I really wouldn't want to myself because I wouldn't know what to do.
True. I don't want to see it. I just want to know
No.
if it's exactly like Linda Blair in The Exorcist, and that's
The lady, she contorted and stuff, but it wasn't. That's just still to this day. I remember seeing that when I was a kid. My mom let me watch horror movies.
me too. Yeah, I was like 4, and I remember it.
It's still today. I mean,
Yeah.
that's still because that stuff can really happen. I don't know about all the spinning of the head and stuff, but I think that stuff can really happen.
Interesting. I'm super interested in that. Okay.
Wow. Have you done any kind of residential investigations for families?
We don't do those too often. We might do it for like a friend or a friend of a friend.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact is you don't know the people that you're going into their house. We kind of did those in the beginning when we first started, and then we ran into 2 issues of people having actual mental illness.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't want to do this. My dad was a cop. I didn't want to be a cop because of seeing some of the crazy stuff that people do, the way they live. One house was totally trash. It was just garbage everywhere. But it wasn't paranormal, you know.
That's a Hoarders episode.
Yeah, it could have been that show, but it wasn't. It wasn't paranormal. It was mental illness. So we kind of just do bigger locations. We work with a lot of historical societies and businesses to try and raise awareness and money. We go to a lot. We travel the United States. We've been fortunate enough to be on Travel Channel, telling some of our stories. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's been fun. You know, I keep saying fun, so if I say that too much, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
No, you're lucky you get to do what you like.
Yeah,
to do.
exactly. Yeah.
I have 3 kids. I have 3 teenagers and a regular job, but the paranormal is really kind of taking a life of its own.
Yeah,
which
so
I'm
do we.
happy with.
We have a regular job too, but we like this.
Yeah.
I have
It's our
to
hobby.
adulting's not the best.
Yeah, exactly. What's your best story somewhere that you've traveled to?
I have a couple, but I'll tell you one that's kind of probably always stick with me. We went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, to the Iron County Historical Museum. And this museum's set on top of an abandoned iron mine. And up in the Upper Peninsula is a huge iron country type of thing up there. There's a lot of iron communities. So there's no iron workers or anything anymore, and they don't dig. But this sets on an old iron mine. What had 11 miners die over the 80 years it operated. So, and it instantly has energy there. And they bring houses from all over the county. So there's like 25 different houses on this property, historical houses, like a church, a wedding, a school, train depot, bar even. But they're all like from the 1800s, early 1900s, later 1800s. So there's a house there that used to belong to Carrie Jacobs Bond was her name. She was the first female musician, you guys probably never heard of her, to sell 1 million records back in the early 1900s. So she kind of had a tragic life. Her husband and her son and her lived in this house. Her husband got hit in the head with a snowball and fell and hit his head and ended up dying from it.
A snowball? Oh my God.
He slipped and hit his head, and then he complicated showing up dying.
Oh my God.
A few years later, her son committed suicide. So she moved out of that house and moved to California. But that house, we went in, there's a parlor. Those old houses have big parlors in the front, and then the stairs are right to the left, and then the doorway to get in. So I was sitting on a velvet-type couch from the period time, like 1920s, 1930s, and we had a K2 meter, which reads electronic magnetic fields, where it'll go different colors of they say energies can give off electricity, so it'll change and light up. So it was sitting next to me on the couch. Then 2 other female investigators were across from me. So I started to say, if there's anyone in this room, can you make it light up, this K2? Because it'll go from green when it goes to red. It's got a lot of energy around it. So, and it's pitch black. We can't see anything. And on the recording, after we heard this, you can hear that thing sliding, because I had a digital recorder next to me, that K2 meter sliding on the couch. Long story short, it slides like 3 feet away from me and flies in the air and hits Lauren, one of our investigators, in the leg. So she jumps up screaming. I get up and scream, and then we all run outside. I've never seen that. It had enough energy to throw this in the air 6 feet across the room and hit Lauren in the leg, and it lit up red the whole way. So it was bright red as it was in the air.
Wow.
So I was shook out, because I've never, to this day, I've never seen energy or spirit have that type of energy to move something like that. So we kind of regrouped, and I told Jeff, I said, I'm going to man up. Let's go back in there and see what this is. So we went back in the parlor. He sat at a table right by the door, and we started asking again, was that you that moved the K2 meter? Do you want to say anything to us? And the way we were in the front of the house by the door, and the stairwell came like a winding stairs from upstairs down to right where the door was and where we were. And in the back of the house, you can hear footsteps coming closer towards the front of the house. And it got to the top of the stairs, it was a big thump. It sounded like someone wearing boots. And then we just stopped and looked, and then running down the stairs, footsteps running down the stairs towards us. So I just got up and ran out the door. And then I didn't even think about Jeff. He was right behind me. I mean, it was like a fight or flight instinct that kicked in with me. I wanted to stay there so bad to see what it was. But like my natural instinct said, get up and run. It's not good. So I never went back in the house. We went back there another time. We did a presentation for the community on our findings of that house. And everyone said, let's go back to Carrie Jacobs Bond House. Come on in there. And I said, I can't go in there. I don't want to go in there. But I ended up going in there like an idiot. And we go upstairs, and I said, do you remember me from last time? If you were here, can you walk in this room? And the same boot steps came walking down the hallway right into that room. I just got up and left. And this was in the daytime.
Oh God.
This wasn't even at night, second time. And so I've never been back since. So I don't know what is there. What doesn't like us there? Doesn't like me, maybe?
Wow. You didn't see anything, you just heard?
Heard, yeah. Heard. Yeah, we actually have a video of me jumping up and running out, but we started the video late. So if we would have had it in the beginning, we would have had the K2 flying off, but you can hear it all. That's on our website too. You can hear it moving, you hear it fly off, and everyone screaming and running out. That's probably one of my most profound experiences, where I felt like it was kind of coming towards me maybe, or something. I don't know, didn't want me there.
Has anyone else had experiences in the house?
I mean, the people that were in the house, Jeff, Lauren, I think, and Brandy were in the house with me when all that happened. The second time I went back in, it was just me and Jeff. So there's people that experienced it. It wasn't just me. But it was like something tells me never. I really want to go back there. I really, really do. But my body, like the natural instinct, tells me not to. Like it's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
In Michigan, that's like 12 hours away because I'm in Detroit. This is the Upper Peninsula, so it's like 12-hour drive to get there. So it's not like I could just drive an hour away and get there. You know what I mean? It's a hike.
Totally.
Maybe it's her and she just doesn't want anyone investigating her house.
You know what we did? We found over songs on YouTube, and we used that as a trigger. So we started playing our music, and that's when all the energy started shifting and turning kind of negative, and that's when everything started happening.
Interesting. She didn't like that, or that person didn't like
that. Yeah, whoever didn't. I mean, you can look her up, Carrie Jacobs Bond. I never heard of her before we went there either, and it's amazing. She had an amazing life, but her music's really, really creepy.
Oh.
It's just odd from the 1900s. You know, you don't think of a female singer, but she sold 1 million records. You know, she was the biggest female singer at the time.
I'm definitely going to look her up.
Creepy music.
It was so weird. It's like, oh my God, that's the way she sung. Because I never heard her music. I never heard of her until we went there, you know. But again, that's like some of the stuff we do. You find this history that you never would have known about until you went to do a paranormal investigation. Then you find out all this other stuff.
Maybe I'm afraid to play her music, though. Because I'll think about what happened to you.
I mean, I think it should still be on YouTube. I was surprised it's on YouTube, but it's so creepy. I can't remember, Lovely You or something it's called. I haven't listened to it in a couple years, but it's definitely creepy.
Okay. What other story do you have then? Like your second best one?
I have a lot, but the second best one, again, I was a chicken. I'm not a chicken, so I went like every place. Because I get people saying, you do the paranormal, why are you running out? Well, I'm human still. I still get scared. We were in a place called Eloise Psychiatric Hospital. It was the first time it's ever been investigated. So we set up, we call them DVR static cameras everywhere. We'll have 4 stationary cameras, like looking down the hallway in different parts of the room. So we had this 3rd floor covered with cameras. And it was getting late in the night, it was around 2:30 in the morning, and we had gathered in the hallway. Nothing really, I mean, stuff was happening, but not a lot to like blow your mind away, like you'd think in an old asylum. So we sat down, we're in a group, and I sat on the floor and started getting on my phone doing social media. And of course, like an idiot, I got into my phone and everyone walked away. It was gone. So I'm left in the 3rd floor by myself. I didn't like to be there by myself to begin with. So I go into the room where we had like the monitor and stuff set up, and we were doing a Facebook Live, showing people the different aspects of this hospital. So I just started answering questions to people. And then I heard something in the back of the room, like shuffling and kind of moving. And I could feel I could actually feel a different like energy. It was like a different feeling coming towards me. So I took my flashlight and I said, hello. And this is on video. We got this on video, thank God. I'm like, hello? And you can see me shine the flashlight behind me. And I kind of rationalized it off as those guys knew I was by myself and it snuck back in and were trying to scare me. So it stopped. I went back and I felt at the time, like, come talk to people on Facebook, that there was someone there with me. You know, I had that feeling of comfort just because I'm chatting with people. And it started again. It got louder and louder. It was coming towards me, and I could feel the energy was bad. And I said hello, and it didn't stop this time. It kept coming. So I like you can see in the video, I took off real fast, went down the hall, and after I left, I go downstairs, and there's no, of course, elevators don't work, but it seemed like it took me forever to get out of the building. I go outside, everyone's out in the parking lot. I was the only person in that building. So the cameras are still rolling, and after I leave, and we had the audio going, you can hear footsteps. You can hear I was kind of by the patient shower area, shower curtains going back and forth. You can hear cabinets opening and closing for a good 5 minutes, sustained.
Wow.
Stuff. Somebody was in that room, and the camera show there's nobody in the rooms, but you can hear it. That was one of the most times, just like the Carrie Jacobs Bond House, where I was a chicken. But again, I trust my gut. I trust my instincts now. I'm in tune with my body. When it says go, you go. And again, that time I wanted to stay so bad to see what it was, but I couldn't force myself. It's like, go, you got to go now. So I left.
Crazy. Have you ever been in any other situations where you've had kind of like a lot of physical activity as far as like movement of stuff?
I've had a couple things where doors have slammed, like right by me, like I was sitting before at Madison Seminary, and a thick, huge, like those old seminaries and asylums, the wood doors are solid, either oak or they're not like the fake, doors now, but a door slammed right by me. I saw it open and then slam right by me. I've had whistling. I've been lucky enough to see shadow figures. I saw a shadow figure for the first time at Ohio State Reformatory.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah.
Those are really scary to me.
It was, and there was people that saw that too, and that's where they filmed the Shawshank Redemption. It's a cool place in Ohio. It's a haunted attraction. It's huge too. So we were investigating, and at the end of one of the cell blocks, all of us see this shadow. It was darker than the darkness, and you could see when your eyes start getting used to the darkness. You can see how you can see outline. Yeah. You can see this thing move up, and it went up. And the cell blocks were stacked. I think it's like it's the largest free stacked cell block in America or something, like stacked. I want to say 8 on top of each other, all the way up. And you can see this thing go right up. There's no stairs or anything, kind of float up and then disappear real quick. And we even had someone that worked at the Ohio State Reformer with us. And he's like, I've never seen that before. And we all saw, there was 4 of us that saw that. That was the first time I ever saw a shadow figure. And that was like in 2011.
Can you describe it a little bit more? Was it long and skinny? Did it have eyes?
At first I thought it was like, because the way it looked, like the way it looked to me is like someone had a flashlight with a shadow from a flashlight, but there's nobody with a flashlight.
Oh, okay.
It looked like it was long and it moved slow. And then when we started getting closer, it went fast. So, and we ran down there then to make sure there was nobody down there.
Oh, interesting.
Because we couldn't see a flashlight light, but it seemed in my mind like, how you put a shadow on a wall and it has a long, looks odd. Yeah. That's what it looked like in the dark with no light on it. But it was darker than the darkness, if that makes sense.
Was there any other evidence during that investigation that would kind of collaborate or tell you who that shadow figure was? Or
We went up to the solitary confinement area, and Jeff had went to one of the cells and shut it by himself. This is like maybe an hour after this happened. And something started grabbing his legs. Like he could feel something like running up his legs and thighs, and he jumped out of there. But I don't know, because there's so many people that have died in that, you don't know who's who and what's what. That's a problem with like jails and hospitals. There's been so much death. It's hard to pinpoint who it is unless they really just tell you their name. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen too often.
what's the best piece of evidence that you've received as far as like an EVP that was like a direct response to you, would you say?
I still think that one that I was telling you about at Beaver Island Lighthouse. If you listen to it, if you guys have a chance to pull up and listen to it, it basically, when Brandy told us to leave, that the entity was telling us to leave and we didn't, then it says, I told you to get out. You know, so basically we went against its orders or wishes. So that was kind of a direct response. Weren't listening. We use a lot of spirit boxes, ghost boxes. We probably have 8 of those. I know a lot of people don't use those, but they're special to us. They're hand built by a friend of mine, Jeff Fent. But a lot of them are built from wood from haunted locations. So we have a couple built from Eloise Psychiatric Hospital. We have one built from the Emmett House in Ohio. And then one I picked up at an antique shop. I don't know why I bought this radio. It's a 1941 pre-World War II radio. And it looked horrible. And for some reason I bought it at an antique shop. And I gave it to Jeff. And he built this sweet spirit box, ghost box with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why I wanted it, but I'm drawn to stuff like that. And I think, again, that's why I keep saying I'm in tune with, I think, the other side maybe sometimes. I'm not like a psychic or anything like that, but I think I've opened myself up to that. And there's always a reason, I think, for why you are drawn to things. I notice I'm more drawn to people. I think I have that ability now to even tell when people aren't really good. Like there's times where, this guy's great, he's awesome, everyone loves him. And then I get a feeling like he's a jerk. Well, you don't even know him. Like, you know how you just get that feeling about somebody where that's just your senses.
Yeah.
And especially if you're in tune with that, it's even heightened even more. You just have to trust your gut, I guess.
No, I'm totally.
I concur with that.
It really is true.
Have you seen an apparition?
I've seen a couple, yes.
And do they have red eyes like the movie show?
No, they're always like black, or sometimes they'll be a grayish, but we got a picture one time at a hospital, and it looks like a nurse. I mean, you can see the face looks like a skull almost, but it looks like a nurse. But usually you don't see like in the movies when they're all in clothes, and it's not like that. It's at least not in my experience. It's more either a dark shadow or like a misty white grayish. Sometimes they have body shapes, like you can see the height, but they're not like really defined, like you'd think in a movie how they really do it.
And then so it was just a skull face and then kind of a gray body. Is that?
No, it looked like a nurse, but she was all distorted, standing by this pillar in this mental hospital. I think that's on our website page. It should be. We don't update it quite like we should, but I think that stuff's up there.
Oof.
For you to look at.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
When you see stuff like that, then it's like you try to debunk it. Obviously, we try to figure out, was that a light flash? Was there someone? And there was nobody there. It's just so hard to say what it was.
It is.
This may be a stupid question, but do you try and talk to them ever? Like that nurse is in front of you. Do you try and say anything?
We went back because we didn't realize we got that picture till after.
Oh. Okay.
Then we zoom in. Obviously, when you zoom in, you're like, that's a person. So we went back there numerous times to try and communicate. I mean, I'll go, obviously it sounds weird, go sit in a room by yourself and talk to nothing that's there. Mm-hmm. That's part of what we do, and sometimes you get interaction, sometimes you don't. I mean, you can go investigate a place for 8 hours and get nothing. Mm-hmm. And then you go someplace else and you're there an hour, then all kinds of things happen. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen. And it could be the most haunted place in the world, everyone says, but you go there and nothing happens. So it's just hit and miss, but I think that's kind of the fun of it too, to try and search and keep pushing to see what you can get.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's all the fun of the hunt.
It is. And the road trips are fun too. I have a good group of them. We're like a family, so we always have a blast when we go on road trips.
Have you ever been to the Winchester house?
No, I wanted to come. I tried to set something up with them to come, but the COVID sucks this year. So
Stephanie is obsessed with that place.
I do, some public stuff that I just read somewhere, ghost hunts or something.
Sorry, say that again.
They're doing ghost hunts there. I read someone's doing it.
Yeah, they have I sent it to Kendi. They have a ghost hunt tour or something. But I mean, we're in Seattle, and that's California. So.
You're on the West Coast. You're in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would totally have signed up for that if I was there.
Yeah, we tried to. We were going to set up something where we go out there and do like public tours and stuff because I just want to go out there, but try and raise money for them and give money back. But then the COVID stuff hit and it kind of just fell apart. So it's kind of ruined a lot of our plans this year.
Yeah, it's made everything kind of hard.
Yeah, hopefully it gets back to normal. But
I hope so.
I
hope it's soon.
It's been chaotic.
Have you had any scary experiences with a mirror, a ghost in a mirror?
No, I mean I hear people use those kind of try to communicate.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it, scrounging or something.
Scrying.
Scrying, yeah, where they use the mirror to try and
like Bloody Mary.
Yeah, to bring energies over. Or what I don't know. I don't really mess with that because you don't know what you're bringing over.
Yeah,
I remember
when
I
it's
was
like a portal.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I could only say Bloody Mary twice because I thought if I go to 3, I really would die. So I've only gone to 2 because, yeah, you don't want to mess with that technically.
No.
Ouija boards. I mean, I we use ghost boxes and spirit boxes to communicate with the other side. So I guess those are communication tools, but it just seems to me, I just stay away from them. I mean, just my own personal preference. I mean, I'm not against it. Everyone else can do what they want, but Ouija boards and the mirrors, no, I don't get into.
I'm kind of with you there. I don't know about messing with the Ouija boards.
No, I mean, it's a game, I guess, but still everyone tells me you don't know what you're bringing over.
No.
Yeah.
Who you're communicating with.
Because you're inviting some random thing in.
Yeah.
No.
But it's the same thing with anything you do when you're trying to communicate in the dark, sitting in the dark with a tape recorder, trying to talk to God knows what, So it's all the same, but it's just, I try and not invoke that type of stuff. I don't have to.
Totally.
I agree. A Milton Bradley game.
Yeah.
Can fuck your life up.
Yeah. And people collect them. I see people collecting these Ouija boards. Like, they got tons of them in their house. It's like, I don't know.
Wild.
Totally wild. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us your scary stories. Can you give a shout out to our viewers and let them know how you can get connected?
Thanks for having me, first of all. I had a good time. Wish we could do this long. And then and if you guys ever get out to Detroit, I'll take you guys to some haunted places too.
I can barely get out of Washington, but yeah.
And I want to go to Montana and Washington. There's a place I want to go to because there's some haunted places I want to go to there.
Okay, yeah, we'll go.
And you can connect we're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website, DetroitParanormalExpeditions.com. So we're everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.